What's going on, ChavezzSlovakia? Now, I don't know if we finished my series of the best April Fool's jokes of 2017 on social media, but here we're here to check out a video that is top 10 April Fool's pranks that went too far. Now, if you guys want to watch this original video, it's by Be Amazed. Make sure you go to their channel, check out their vids. And let's get into this, man. I'm very interested to see this. I am down for a good, tasteful prank, but I have very clear limits on what I am okay with and not okay with. Some of you know what I'm referring to, others do not. We will get into that later.
April Fool's Day. It's all a bit of fun, right?
Jesus.
While most of us settle for simple pranks like handing out toothpaste-flavoured Oreos or supergluing our family members to the toilet, others take it much further. Like, much further. Most people would agree that the 10 committed pranksters in this video went a little too far on the day.
Alright.
Amazing!
Amazing!
Number 10. School shooting prank.
Oh,
Certain
no.
things are naturally funny, like people who think their Oompa Loompa inspired tan looks good. Then there are things you should just never joke about. You know, like school shootings. Well, Angela Timmons clearly didn't get this memo.
No.
In 2014, she was an employee at Virginia College in Spartanburg and decided that despite her daughter living far away in New York, she was still totally prankable. With little foresight, she texted her daughter that the school she was working at was in the middle of a school shooting and that she was hiding for safety. Quite understandably, after failing to respond to her daughter's replies, her daughter called the police, who were quick to respond with teams of officers turning up at the school. The cops certainly weren't laughing when they found out it was an April Fool's prank and hauled her off to the county jail for breach of peace and disturbing a school. Maybe next time she'll stick to whoopee cushions under the principal's chair.
That is too far.
Number 9. Murder prank. I get it. We love pranking. It is a load of fun. But there are limits, people. Susan Hudson took it too far. In short, she planned to convince her sister that she killed her husband. Let's hear a little from her about how she did it.
I said, Helen, I shot my husband. I'm cleaning up the mess. Let's go bury him in Blackwater.
Probably rather shaken up by the whole conversation, her sister called another family member, and then word went around, prompting law enforcement to raid her house with guns drawn. Here is what she had to say.
And next thing I knew, there was law everywhere. The response was excellent.
Whilst I do appreciate her commitment to the cause, her lack of foresight is what...
The part that makes it an April Fool's prank is when you say April Fools, you know, letting them know the prank is over. What, do you guys forget that fucking part of it? I'm sorry, whatever. Jesus.
I mean, those poor officers were probably expecting a bloody murder scene, but instead they got an overweight woman with a party popper. Apart from wasting police resources, it must have been pretty embarrassing, so really the joke is on her. She wasn't charged even as her husband returned in unmurdered form. Let's end this one with her words of wisdom.
Be careful on the April Fool's jokes.
Number 8. Military intelligence escalates foreign relations. You know what's not likely to stabilise tensions in an otherwise volatile region of the world? A prank. So bad that Susan from the previous example probably thought it up. You see, back in 1986, an unspecified Israeli intelligence officer publicised a false report describing an alleged attempt to assassinate the Lebanese Muslim leader and the Minister of Defence. Obviously, Berry and others in Lebanese media condemned the joke, which was later reported by news as being a complete hoax.
Oh my god.
Number 7.
Wait, that was it? That's all you had for me? That ended up fake? I was sitting here I'm like, listening, trying to consume it, I'm waiting on it, and then what? It's fake, and then we just move on. Damn.
There's a chemical in your water. As this video will confirm, radio DJs are notorious for over-the-top April Fool's Day tricks misleading the public. And with this one, it's all in the details. So, back in 2002, a pair of Kansas City DJs announced that the water supply in nearby Olathe contained high levels of a naturally occurring substance called dihydrogen monoxide. Common side effects of this substance include increased sweating, urination, and even suffocation. Citizens became increasingly concerned, and 150 of them called the water department, with more than 24 calling 911.
Damn.
One city official even remarked that it was a terrorist attack.
Oh,
the thing
shit.
is, dihydrogen monoxide isn't some poison. It's the chemical name of H2O, or water. The hoax has been replicated many times before, and whilst it's crude, it's a pretty disturbing one to play on gullible people.
Wait, so you mean that... Oh, no, he's not saying the same people fell for it again. I was about to say, what
Number
the
6. Cheap holiday prank. To commemorate the 100th
My cat's just like jumping off of shit and fucking himself up. It's hilarious.
year anniversary of the first round-the-world tour by travel agent Thomas Cook, the London Times had a great idea that would definitely cause queues to form outside the travel agents. In a full article, they noticed how the first tour only cost participants 210 guineas, which was approximately $575 back then.
Money.
Due to inflation, and to put that in perspective, the price of the tour today would have cost tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's
a
a
few
lot of
pages
money.
back after the article, the Times noted that they were to honour this trip by offering 1,000 lucky people the chance to go on a similar trip for the exact
What?
same price the original trip cost. $575.
Oh.
Looking for a bargain, huge lines formed outside Thomas Cook offices,
shit.
and the travel agent was inundated with calls. To put it lightly, the people who had queued for hours for the deal were not amused when they realised it was all a big joke, so much so that the reporter was fired for it.
Oh, shit.
Number 5. Deadline stress. Coming up to the end of March 2008, Glenn Howlett, an employee at London City Council, was on a much-needed vacation. You know, the time to de-stress, forget about work,
Right.
and that sort of thing. Well,
Right.
unfortunately for him, just because he was on holiday didn't mean his colleagues wouldn't conspire to form an evil
That's
prank
so
against
fucked
him.
up.
They knew he was working on a large project, which was due shortly after he returned to work, so
Right.
they had a plan to pile up the pressure. They sent him a letter on official city letterhead telling him that his project was now due early on April the 1st.
No.
Panicked and likely unaware of the detail on the deadline date, Howlett cut his vacation short and worked himself
That
into
is-
such a panic that he began to experience heart palpitations. Eventually, he collapsed from the stress, and the prank escalated quickly when he opted for an early retirement instead of risking his health over the project. Only after realising that his heart wasn't really in it, did his colleagues finally confess that it was all a joke. Howlett
my
responded
God.
by suing for damages,
Yeah.
settling for $1.5 million in
What the
court. And as a
fuck?
consequence, the city banned all employees from pulling any more pranks.
Yeah.
Seems like Glenn got the last laugh. Number 4. Titanic
Poor
replica
guy.
sighting. 2001 was the year that a local DJ in Brighton, England, thought it would be appropriate to carry out this prank. He publicised on Southern FM radio that a full-size replica of the Titanic
Oh
would be
my
visible from the
God.
cliffs at Beachy Head as it sailed along the Sussex coast. Braving the treacherous winds and notoriously dangerous Beachy Head cliffs, hundreds of people turned up to capture a glimpse of this rare event. Not only should they have checked their calendar, but the name of the company which purportedly created the ship was a subtle clue. AFD stood for April Fool's Day.
Oh,
the disappointment
Jesus.
was short-lived though, because the huge footfall the prank inspired placed undue stress on the cliff,
Oh,
which split under
shit.
their weight with a 5-foot crack.
What the
Luckily,
fuck?
the area above the 400-foot cliff was cornered off by coast guards and local council officials, who were less than happy that public safety was put at risk. Not to
Damn.
mention the numerous disappointed
could have been
listeners, many of
tragic.
whom travelled from upwards of 40 miles away. The radio station did later apologise, but they got off lightly. The cliff collapsed into the water a few days later, by which time everyone was luckily gone. Number 3. Space Shuttle
Yeah,
in
like
San
somebody else
Diego.
just stayed
This
up
one
there a
wasn't
couple of
entirely
days.
original. It was copied by a prank perpetrated by a Belgian newspaper in 1992, but this one was far more successful, fooling much more people. It was carried out in 1993 by Dave Rickards, a KGB FM DJ. The station name alone is enough to make me suspicious. Anyway, like the previous example, they announced that the Space Shuttle Discovery had been diverted from Edwards Air Force Base and was to land instead at Montgomery Field in San Diego. Excitedly, thousands of commuters immediately headed towards the landing site, causing huge traffic jams that lasted for about an hour. Reportedly, police were called to deal with the traffic as around 1,000 people piled up with cameras, folding chairs, and possibly an assortment of sweets, crisps, and popcorn. As
Thanks
with
for
the
the
Titanic
description.
example, it was never going to happen. The airfield was also far too small. The prank was so poorly received that the police announced that they were going to build a radio station for the cost of the traffic enforcement officers.
Damn.
Number 2. Bun in the oven prank. This one's a classic, but most people agree that it's something not worth joking about. Not Tori Wheeler though. She told her boyfriend Derek Bauer that she was pregnant, something Derek got a little angry about.
Okay.
Then, in part 2 of her epic April Fools, Wheeler allegedly brandished a knife and threatened Derek. Apparently, tensions escalated, and Wheeler ended up biting Bauer twice and cut him across the throat.
What?
After all, nothing says funny like a trip to the hospital.
What the
right.
fuck?
Number 1. This video, I may have made up all of the examples.
Oh. Oh, that hurts. Oh, what a well done video. And it was uploaded on the 1st too. You son of a bitch. Be amazed. God damn it.
Alright, that was a lie, but at least I got you
it was a lie. So you pranked me by... Alright.
Doubting it for a second there.
All
Number
right.
1 is actually the eruption of Mount Edgecombe.
Okay, the
Residents of
eruption of Mount
Sitka,
Edgecombe.
Alaska woke on the
So
morning
mad.
of Monday, April 1st, 1974,
I was so
only to
mad.
see that Mount Edgecombe, a volcano dormant for 400 years, had a menacing plume of black smoke rising from inside its crater. Residents were so concerned of an imminent eruption that they poured into the streets and even contacted local authorities, prompting a Coast Guard chopper to be sent out to investigate it. Sure enough, as the chopper pilot approached, he could see stomped out in the snow, in 50-foot high black letters, the words,
my
April
God.
Fools. You see, the fake eruption was the work of local 50-year-old prankster Oliver Bicker. Apparently the prank was a long time coming. He had the idea 3 years prior, and collected 70 old tyres which he kept in an airplane hangar, waiting for the right year, when visibility conditions were just right. The year of 1974 had just the right conditions, and he managed to fly the kerosene-soaked tyres into the volcano crater. Before you ask, they did make most necessary precautions, contacting the police and Federal Aviation Authority.
my
They just missed the
God.
Coast Guard. The prank succeeded and was published all across the world, but some have criticised the plan as being unnecessary given the toxic fumes that were polluted. Then, 6 years later, in 1980, a similar volcano April Fools occurred, but this time, residents weren't so forgiving. This one was perpetrated by Channel 7 News, who made a special bulletin announcing that the 635-foot Great Blue Hill in Milton, Massachusetts had erupted, with lava and ash raining down nearby homes. At the end of the segment, the reporter held up a sign that read, April Fool, but the damage was already done. By that
Yeah.
time, local authorities had already been flooded with frantic calls, and
Right.
Channel 7 had to make a formal apology. Even the executive producer responsible for the prank was fired. Which prank did you
What
think
the-
was the
the
worst?
random ass
Do
Trump
you know of
thing?
any other amusing ones I missed? Please.
That was really good, man. He really got me with that prank, too, because I really thought that shit was fake then. Very good, dude. Good job. I like when these videos are this nice, man. That's really pleasant. If you guys want to watch the original video, it's by Be Amazed. Link is in the description down below. Make sure you go check that out. ChavezzSlovakia. Pleasant vid. Very pleasant vid. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.